When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. Well, hello, everybody. This is Mark Ledlow, the host of the Fearless Mindset Podcast. And you just saw our podcast with Byron Rogers just dropped a couple days ago over the weekend. So thanks, Byron Rogers, for having me on your show. And today we're doing an update with Daniel in Israel. As you guys all know, as we're recording this is probably 24 or 36 hours after the Iranian strike on Israel. So, of course, we'll probably Daniel discuss that. As you all know, Daniel, if you don't know, Daniel's a reserve in the Israeli IDF and currently an officer there. And he'll discuss what he's able to, just so the audience knows kind of what's going on, the general temperature, what's going on in Israel right now. And he'll discuss EP, movements and stuff in Israel. So, Daniel, thoughts and prayers are with you and your country and your people. And unfortunately, we're dealing with what we're dealing with, but this is like an everyday thing with you guys, just like another day in Israel. That's kind of your thought process. I think we get worked up in the West media. Oh my God. You're like, it's another day in Israel.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, Mark, for having me here again. And it's good to catch up. This time I'm back home, not on uniforms yet.
Yeah.
Yet. It will come. It will come in one point. I can't see how it's not. They don't open in another front in the north. But for now, we're enjoying some time at home. So like you said, Israel is very good in resilience, but attack from Iran did, shake the system a little bit because we didn't expect them to attack. On the other hand, the defense was very, very good. So, there was always, Iran in the shadows using their proxies, and everyone would say, what are the secret weapons Iran has? And, I'm sure they have more, but with what they came now, it was our system managed to handle it and pretty good. So, it's a little bit of a relief.
Everybody taking like a deep breath over there right now, kind of a sigh of relief after that happened over Sunday, the weekend. Everybody's like, okay, we intercepted 90% of the incoming from all over the place, including Iran. Now what's next? Everybody's like, we do know the War Cabinet of Israel just had a meeting. They are going to take some action. That's probably classified, I'm sure. And so then what's next is everybody's anticipating that next move, the counteroffensive, probably.
Yeah. So again, it depends what the Israeli government will do and how they will respond to that, if at all. They say they do, but can't really know. But once they respond, then you can know. Then we will see what Iran does. Iran still, yes, of course, we managed to intercept all those rockets, and it was very good, successful operation. But eventually, going to a full-scale war and not, those games you shoot, and then we shoot. It's going to have some load on the system on Israel. We have Hezbollah in the north, which is, by itself can, cause a lot of troubles. And then Iran, and then, the Houthis in the south, and then from Syria. So again, we should never be naive, especially after October 7th. You see that you're not as immune as you think you are. October 7th had a lot of effect on the people, that they understand that they need, to find their own solutions, not only rely on the government to protect you, because we saw what happened. So it's like you feel a mixture of feelings. You don't know if you need to be happy or concerned.
What's the overall morale with the people in Israel right now? In Israel, everybody are they upset, angry? They want retaliation, or is it just is it more media that propaganda going on? Everybody's spinning up on the West Coast. Is it really everybody kind of afraid?
I think media definitely, like always, is exaggerating and, taking the narrative they want to show. I think in Israel it splits to two approaches. You have the ones that say, okay, we attacked Iran in Syria and they attacked us back, and now let's finish with that. And we don't want more troubles. We still have ongoing war in Gaza and the conflict. You don't hear about it a lot, but in Lebanon they shoot hundreds of rockets. So they don't want to start another front. And the other approach says, if you tolerate this thing, you're showing weakness, which in the Middle East, unfortunately, it's not good. I think nowadays it's not only in the Middle East. If you see that you don't respond and you're okay with that, they will do it again and again. Bury your head in the sand and say, okay, let's not start and wait for them to start. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a solution. Just, to deny the problem, try to avoid handling the problem, which is not a good solution, in my opinion.
Here's a question I'm sure a lot of listeners are thinking about or wondering. I'm not trying to be political. I was in the Marine Corps veteran. I served under Bill Clinton. And so I was willing to give my life for my country, regardless of who the president was. So that's kind of where I stand. But I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, would there be a different outcome if Trump had been reelected? Do you think there had been more of a respect for Trump if he had been reelected versus Biden being in office? Not trying to, say, hey, I'm, for Trump or Biden, but is there a thing called respect for global leaders? I'm wondering, a lot of people I talk to, well, if Trump were in office, this would never happen. But what do the Middle East people think, and what's their thoughts to that? Those questions that I hear a lot here in the U.S. about.
Just to understand the question again, you're asking if in Israel, what we think if Trump will be elected, what will we think about, like what will be the approach if we'll be more.
Yeah, if let's say, for example, the theory is from a lot of people in the West, a lot of my conservative friends say, well, if Trump had been reelected, this would never happen. Iran would never have done what they did. And I'm like, yeah, probably right. And I think Biden's considered a very weak administration in his policies. And so a lot of people are asking those kind of questions. They don't want to say it in a public forum because they'll be ostracized or whatever. But, why this is a public forum or podcast, like what is the people's thoughts in Israel? If Trump had been reelected as president, we probably wouldn't be in this position because he was very respected. He didn't mess around. And so what's the thoughts out there if Trump had been elected versus Biden? What's that consensus like?
Again, the two approaches, as always. The approaches say that, Trump will cause troubles. Those the same people that says, let's avoid any conflict. Generally, and for us, the reason says that Trump is a very big supporter of Israel. And then, Israelis are not good in U.S. politics. But from what we see here, and again, at least I see that with all the, people talking about madness, about Trump's madness, there were no conflicts when he was, correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't see any big conflicts happening when he was, in charge, right? And what we saw that, countries like Iran and radical countries taking a step back and being quiet and losing power instead of gaining power. So I'm not a politician and I'm not involved too much in, American politics, but that's how I see it. That was way more quiet when he was up. And I don't think anyone will dare pulling those things when he's there. But again, it's only what I see. I don't really know everything that's happening there in the States.
And again, the media spends it like the way they want to spend it, of course. They always do.
Exactly.
So you guys feel supported with Biden? Is the current administration doing enough to support you guys over there? Do you guys feel like the U.S. administration is alienating you guys, or you guys feel supported by the U.S. folks?
We do feel support by the U.S. Of course, they're helping and with ammunition and support. Even in this last attack, they were intercepting rockets together with us. And so we do feel support. We also feel a little bit of tightening up, instead of letting us do the work and finishing the work, trying again to avoid handling the problem. Just, let's make quiet for a while and let's see what happens. But instead of, we already started, let's finish it. And that's it. So that's a little bit, that's the feeling. But I can't say that we don't feel support from the US. We just feel that it's not like they're trying to make quiet in the Middle East. But on our side, we feel that this quiet will just make us bring October 7th happen again, right? Because they will, they will gain power again, or they will, build their forces again, and they will attack again. That's what they do. So for us, it's not the solution, and it's a little bit, we feel a little bit limited by the U.S. government.
Now, how many missiles and drones did we take down? Like they said, over 400 or something like that. Is that the latest count?
300, 400.
Wow! So that was a combination of U.S. military support from the ships and aircraft carriers shooting missiles at them and all that counteroffensive, and your drone, right, and your dome, the dome.
And we have several layers of domes or interception systems, and also the Air Force, with aircraft, and also you'll be surprised, but they sang it in the news that Jordan also intercepted some rockets.
So Jordan was intercepting on your behalf too to help you guys out.
Yep. And
wow! I don't know if that's true or not.
They will attack Jordan. If they will do it again, they will attack Jordan before they will attack us. I think I hope that Israel backed up Jordan. I'm sure they will, but I think I will hope they will back them up, openly. It's interesting. Interesting that Jordan took part in that. Again, we still have the Shia and Sunna inside Islam, which is, they're also the bigger enemies than what they are between Jewish and Muslims. So, and Iran is still threatening those Sunni countries, right? Like Saudi Arabia and Jordan. That's the solution against Iran is just to gather powers together. Let's imagine they try to attack each one of those countries, and everyone is gathering together and intercepting those things and intercepting those rockets. Actually, I also saw that Saudi Arabia intercepted a couple of rockets.
They did?
Yeah,
wow.
From what I heard. Wow. I didn't see any confirmation, but that's what I heard.
So I hear that Saudi Arabia, they're not really friendly with Iran. Is that accurate? That's what I hear.
Again, this Shia Sunna, I think they're
two different tribes.
Intimidated by Iran. They don't want them to gain power. They don't want them to have nuclear power. Again, it's this Shia and Sunna, which is, for us Israelis or Jews, it's a good thing. But, between them, they're having their own conflict inside Islam with the curves of the Islam. So, so definitely not friends. Definitely not friends, Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Wow. So this seems like it's becoming a regional conflict now. It's starting to expand, unfortunately, right?
Remember, that's what we discussed in the last podcast we did a couple of months ago, that's how it seemed that it will become. Because, Lebanon is starting to, Hezbollah, which is Lebanon, is start to getting involved, and then that's Iran, and then the Houthis, and so it's definitely starting to be something bigger. And with that last attack, with Iran removing the attacking for the first time, so they broke the fear barrier or whatever you call it, and they actually attacking Israel directly, not embassies around the globe, not by their proximities, by Hezbollah or Houthis, rockets that were launched from Iran toward Israel. It's definitely going to be very interesting in the next couple of months.
Yeah, right in the middle of our presidential election cycle of all things. Yeah, it's already crazy here in the States. They have protesters.
They had a lot of time until
too much time. Too much time to think over here.
Too much time. It's too much.
So
time.
you guys have to be concerned with constant attacks daily. Sirens going off. That's part of your life over there. It's the way it is. And here we're like, we'd freak out if we had to deal with that here in the States. You guys have a different mentality of survival, and just living daily.
We're very, very lucky to, in the center of the country and most of the parts of the countries. For now, the North is definitely not part of it, but center of the country, don't feel anything. Don't feel the war, apart from those alarms that, we had with the Iranian attack, but you don't feel it. And so the military is doing a good job in, keeping the conflict in the conflict zones. Again, for me, after that I was released from reserves for now, or it's hard, because you feel that you want to do something. So our, the military role is to make sure that we feel like it's not a war, like there is no war, or it's quiet. And our role as citizens now, currently, is to make sure that we don't forget it's a war, and we support the soldiers and support the families, not forgetting the hostages that still are in Gaza, or the thousands of people that were displaced from their houses in the north. So that's the daily work, always to think about it and going volunteering. I also pushing a lot of my company or SES to, let's take a day, go volunteering in the south or in the north. It's very, very important. They give you that sense of quiet, but it's not. It's a war. If you go to the Gaza envelope, you see a war. You hear it. If you go north, you see it's empty. The far north, it's there are no people, right? Everyone is displaced. Any hotel you go here in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or that's the other location. You see people that are displaced, living there for 6 months already. So
interesting. So how is your company doing? SCS. I mean, how you guys must be swamped with everything going on.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate to have a war, but war brings work to security companies, and so we're keeping busy. It changes between supporting, like I said, the first stage was to evacuate a lot of people. Even now, with this recent attack, people that made the move to come back to Israel because they felt, it getting stable, now evacuating. And we did quite a lot of evacuation, not in the scale of October 7, but a lot of people are just, booking flights and leave, not in a panic like it was. But people are leaving. On the other hand, people are coming. You have a lot of technicians, a lot of expats, people that, or even Jewish families that lives abroad. They want to be here during the time or need to be here. If you take technicians that need to handle sensitive facilities, they need to come back here, and we're supporting them. We're supporting. Eventually, all the big corporates, they're still having offices. You will never evacuate. That's something that we saw in the Ukraine. In the Ukraine, when the war in Ukraine started, all the corporates wanted to evacuate everyone. But people say, I'm not going to evacuate and leave my parents here or my brothers. So you can't really evacuate the locals. They will stay. That's their country. Where will they go? So corporates are still have offices in Israel, and we're supporting them with QRTs and when they need extra support, and you'll be surprised that still people are coming here. To with all the mess that is happening, Israel is still doing good job in our economy, and people are coming here to invest, to see. So we still have the regular EP details that we always have. But yeah, it's very, it changes all the time. But
so you have a big tech influence out there, don't you?
Sorry? You
have a big technology influence out there, don't you?
Yeah,
technology, biotech too.
It's funny. We're this big technology hub because of those conflicts, right? Because we finding technology solution. It's our way to survive, right? So that's why we're always pushing, always on the edge to finding new technologies and develop new things.
What would you say is the biggest industry in Israel right now? What's the biggest? Because I know we have Bitcoin in the States. That seems like to be the new technology of all technologies. What are you guys seeing in Israel?
I think technologies and companies that sells sells like military technology and military special weapons. I'm not talking about rifles. They're making a lot of business, not only because this war, because what happened in the last couple of years is that you have big conflicts everywhere, right? You have Ukraine, Russia,
oh, yeah.
we have in China threatening Taiwan, and also, Europe is understanding that the world is not, it's not a Hollywood movie, a Disney World movie.
It's reality.
And then, if you're weak, you're gonna be attacked, and then all those countries are now building their military and their military capabilities again. And they're buying weapons and technology. And that's a big business here in Israel currently.
Would you say that's your probably biggest industry? Defense?
I think that's, the high tech is always, not necessarily for military high tech, but high tech is definitely the biggest one.
Now, do you guys also do business in like Africa too, right? Africa?
Sorry? Yeah.
You guys also do business in Africa.
Yeah, but Africa is always, it's always like not unstable, but they're always, we have a lot of businesses. We have companies doing the presidential details in some countries.
Sure.
We have trainings, going in Nigeria, many other countries. So yeah, definitely, but it's not in the same, it's not what's happening now with those countries building their military again. That's a lot of money. That's a big business. That's a big business. Africa is always the same, just remains the same.
Just because of their own stability.
Yeah, but interesting. We have a lot of, so since October 7th and since, and people like companies like us, and I hope I'm sure they are, but I hope everyone is doing that, is, improving your SOPs to, for those events. And the reason is, like I said before, that you know now that you're not as strong as you think, and you are vulnerable as a country as well, and that if something happens, that you need to take care of yourself. So yeah, and for the past couple of months, we knew that something will, as a company, we found that something big is happening, whether it's with Iran or with the proxies in like Hezbollah. So if our SOP was quite comprehensive, we just now needed to take it to another level, because we know the risk of crucial infrastructure. We also discussed it in the last podcast.
Yeah.
Crucial infrastructure getting damaged or non-functional. So what do you do? How do you run evacuation if you don't have electricity? Electricity is easy, but if you don't have communication, so you don't have cell phone communication, or you don't have, any means of communication. So yeah, everyone say we have cell phones, we have that, but it's not really to that volume of work that you had. The cell phones, they are good, but it's just not good enough. And I can tell you for sure that not everyone is doing those scenarios to the extreme of saying, how do I communicate? Let's give you an example. If there's no communication, let's say for a day, electricity is solvable. You have generators, and we put two in both of our socks. Each one has a generator so it can operate. And we also did some other things like putting landlines and of course cell phones. But how do you communicate with, so you have a cell phone, how you communicate with the guys that are in Israel and that needs to be evacuated? So you have a concerned security manager in the States wishing someone to get out, but he can't communicate. Let's say internet is down. I don't know what's happened. Internet is down, or you can't really reach the guy. What do you do? Or us as a company, how we contact our guys or so we have our own team, but I can definitely tell you that October 7th is not enough. You're using not even one or two vendors. You're using multiple vendors for vehicles, for freelancers, everything, because you have massive volume of work that is coming for a period of 7 days. So how do you communicate with those guys? How do you communicate with your employees? So the SOPs that we build is based on the super extreme scenario, which is, can happen, that people knows what to do when something like that happens, where to reach. We have, up to X amount of time, you have no communication with us, something big happened, you're going to contact us on the cell phones, drivers knows to reach the GSOC in Tel Aviv or in the other location. And, we will get all the information from the clients abroad. And literally you will need to go and knock on the doors, which is, we never dealt with that thing until now. But that's something that you definitely need to take into consideration, because those things, you can see people saying, no, that's a super extreme situation. But you as a security company, you have responsibility to your clients that are in country, and to your clients that having their clients or the insurance company that need support in Israel. So you can't just, if something extreme happened, that you're not available. That's the situation. You need to find good solutions and take it to the extreme, building SOP on the most extreme situation, and then you will be covered for all the other scenarios that will be, from 1 to 10, the less extreme situation, you will be also covered. So it's also something that we really worked on and spent a lot of money on that, a lot of effort, because that's where we want to see ourselves on the next level conflict, still able to provide services to our clients, and not to compromise on that.